Hey everyone, I wanted to do a follow-up video to my Dino Thunder rewatch series. Throughout Dino Thunder, more than any other season of Power Rangers up until the Neo Saban era, there's a lot of unanswered questions in Dino Thunder that I just don't understand. There's so much weird stuff that just comes right out of nowhere and it's never explained. So I wanted to put together a video compiling everything that was weird. Like, I went through all the episodes and I kept a list of all the weirdest things that never get any kind of explanation, so here it is. And also, I'll pepper in some speculation about maybe, and then also at the end, there's a thing that I wanted to clear up for my rewatch videos, because watching through the episodes again, I noticed, like, something that I didn't even consider before, and it blew my mind, and I don't think anybody else noticed it either. So, first up, the T-Rex robot from the first episode. What is it? Why is it there? Who made it? Is it Mesogog's? Why did he make a robot? He never makes a robot again, unless you count, like, the Biozords, and that's an important thing, Biozords, implying biological components or part of the Zords. Mesogog wants to bring back dinosaurs. It seems weird he'd just do a robot. Like, why would he want to make a robot? That's not good enough. He'd want to make a real dinosaur, or at the very least, something with biological components like the Zords. And the other weird thing is it's never brought up again. We never get any kind of follow-up. What happened to it? Like, it's lying there broken in the road. Didn't anybody find it? Did Tommy do something to get rid of it? And the weirdest thing about it is that it's a CGI model, and it shows up in a later episode. They're walking into the museum, and Kira sees it and thinks it looks familiar, but then nothing ever comes of that. And the next thing is kind of a nitpicky thing, but I mean, the show itself draws attention to it. Where did Tommy's powers go? Like, at the end of, is it the third or fourth episode or something, Tommy gets kidnapped by the bad guys, and he doesn't morph, and I was just wondering, why don't you morph, dude? You have your Zeo powers, right? And then in Legacy of Power, we have Haley saying he doesn't have his powers anymore. Haven't you got that far? And then she, like, turns on the thing, and we never get, like, any reason for why Tommy doesn't have his powers anymore. It's very weird, and it's never answered. Next thing, Invisiportals. What are Invisiportals? Why are they here? Why do they seem to be exclusive to Reefside? Dino Thunder is the only season with Invisiportals. No other season has Invisiportals. They're just this weird thing that's unique purely to Dino Thunder. And I don't understand what purpose they serve. They never get any explanation. Early on, when Kira falls through one and meets up with the others, she tells them, I fell through this weird portal, and Tommy's like, it's an Invisiportal. And then that's all the explanation we get. And then later, Haley says that she's been working on them? Like, working on them as in making them, or working on them as in researching them? I don't know. And then, like, we never get any kind of reasoning why they exist. Were they something to do with Mercer and Tommy's experiments from before Dino Thunder started? And in an earlier rewatch video, I speculated that maybe the reason why they have Invisiportals is, instead of, like, just teleporting, is because they wanted it to be more technology-based than magic-based, but then it swings around again to why Invisiportals? What makes these things any less magic than Zordon's teleporting? And Tommy being here, it seems like, wouldn't it make a lot of sense for him to just have teleporting abilities? Or maybe Haley could have been working on teleporting abilities with him or something? Why did Tommy become a doctor of paleontology, or professor of paleontology, or whatever? And this is something that's not really explained in Dino Thunder, but I do have my own speculation on it. If you go all the way back to Mighty Morphin, there's the episode Football Season. It's football season. Angel Grove High is putting together a football team, and Tommy really wants to try out for it, even though he knows nothing about football and doesn't even really seem to like football. Later on in Turbo, he gets super into race car driving. Like, it's his whole world all of a sudden. And all I can guess is Tommy, his personality is just, he's really impressionable. So, I'm assuming that at some point he met Mercer. Mercer was big into paleontology, And since Tommy was friends with him, that rubbed off on Tommy, and Tommy was like, yeah, paleontology! And so, there's why he's a doctor of paleontology. Raptor Riders. Remember the Raptor Riders? They're obsolete immediately. They're introduced, and then, hardly ever used again. The only time they show up after their introduction is in Japanese footage once in a while. And most of the time, all that's cut, and they just use the Raptor cycles anyway. I was reading on Twitter, somebody was saying that one of their favorite things in Dino Thunder was Tommy trying to train the Raptor Riders. And that came off as so strange to me, because you don't even see the Raptor Riders. They're off screen, and the whole bit only lasts a few seconds out of the whole episode. They liked Tommy and the Rangers taking care of the Raptor Riders, and this is a suspicion I've had for a while, I don't think a lot of Dino Thunder fans have actually watched Dino Thunder since 2004. Because we never see the Rangers taking care of the Raptor Riders. It's vaguely, implied in the episode where they're introduced that Tommy is training them or trying to feed them or something. But we never see anything of that ever again. Even in that episode, we never see the Raptor Riders and the Rangers unmorphed in the same shot together. So, when people talk about that being their favorite thing, I can only assume that they haven't actually watched it in a long time, and they're just going by how they remember it in their head. Like the episode, they have the sound effects there, they pretty much do everything but show them. So, in someone's hazy memory, yeah, you'd remember, them interacting with the Raptor Riders, even though it never actually happened. Maybe they're confusing it with the Mystic Force Rangers taking care of Fireheart, which was actually a recurring thing that happened occasionally in Mystic Force. The next thing is a bit of a controversial thing. I don't know why Haley is here. A lot of people really like Haley, and I don't get it. I don't like Haley. I don't like her looks, I don't like her attitude, I don't like her whole role in Legacy of Power. I find that particularly insulting. But as a character, she doesn't really serve any function. When she's at Tommy's lab, she almost never fulfills any kind of role that Tommy couldn't do himself. And a lot of the times, the things do just solve themselves. They need the Zords. The Zords just show up. They don't need to call back to Haley or whatever. If Haley's not there, the Zords just come on their own. Why didn't they just do that in Dino Thunder? Have them just summon the Zords and they show up like in Mighty Morphin. Yeah, Haley just doesn't really do anything. There's no reason for her to be there. She runs a cyberspace cafe, and even then, it's not really necessary for her to actually be a part of the team. She could have just as well just been the person who ran the cyberspace cafe. Actually, I might have actually liked her a bit more if that was her sole role. This next one's a bit of an obscure one. Connor can't swim. Early on, it's established that Connor can't swim. The Rangers talk about having to go to Mesogog's fortress, and that it's on an island, and Connor gets nervous because he can't swim. That never ever comes back again. It's not a problem, it's just a weird thing that... And the way it's set up and introduced, it feels like it's setting up some future conflict that at some point Connor will have to learn how to swim or face that he can't swim, but it never does. I mean, and like I said, it's not bad. It adds to his depth as a character, but yeah, it's just kind of a weird thing to throw out there and then never follow up on. Zeltrax and the Triptoids. This is an annoying one to me. The Triptoids are introduced and then almost never used until, at the end, and even then, they just kind of show up here and there, and there's never any explanation about why they show up here and not there, or whatever. The Triptoids, I think, should have been loyal to Zeltrax from the beginning. Or at least, when Zeltrax finds them, they, attach themselves to him, so that later on, when he attacks the Rangers on his own, without Elsa and Mesogog there or whatever, he has the Triptoids with him. When Elsa is sent out, she has the Tranodrones, Zeltrax has the Triptoids. By the end, the Triptoids are just treated like other foot soldiers, but for some reason they almost never are sent along with the Tyrannodrones, and I don't know why. In Thunderstorm, they're together, and that's the only time they're together. They're never seen together any other time, not even in the final episodes. I don't know what is going on with the Triptoids. Why do they follow Zeltrax anyway? And back in my Game On video, I did speculate that possibly Zeltrax looks like a thing they recognize from the video game, so that's why they follow him. Tyrannodrones are a way bigger part of Dino Thunder than I initially remembered. In my memory from watching Dino Thunder, I remembered the Tyrannodrones kind of disappearing as the show went on and the Triptoids becoming more prominent. That is true, but they're not as prominent as I thought. The Triptoids are only in a few episodes here and there, and a few of them actually have the Tyrannodrones also. Goldenrod, Zeltrax's clone son thing. This seems like a character that should have been way more important, but for whatever reason, he's there and gone and completely forgotten about. He's never brought up after his initial episode. It seems like Goldenrod's death, more than anything, should have been what motivates Zeltrax in his revenge against Tommy. Like, his revenge starts out really petty when we learn his stupid backstory later. Tommy took my job, I hate him, and I don't know, maybe Mesagog enhanced that part of his mind, but then there's also this thing where Mesagog's like, you're too obsessed with the Black Ranger. Like, well then why did you frickin' turn him into a monster then? When Zeltrax first creates Goldenrod, or well, by accident, he thinks Goldenrod is just another monster, but then as the episode progresses, Goldenrod shows affection to Zeltrax, Zeltrax reciprocates it, and sees Goldenrod, yes, this is my son, and then he watches him get destroyed. And then we never follow up on that. Maybe this was a Disney executive thing, like maybe originally they planned to actually have this mean something, but then Disney stepped in and was like, no, that's too dark, don't focus on that, we can't humanize Zeltrax, just keep Zeltrax as the big dumb idiot. This is a particularly WTF one. The Rangers are telepathic. Early on, when they're still gathering up all the different dino eggs to get their Zords, Tommy at some point tells them, use your telepathy to tame the Zords. What? The Rangers have telepathy. So they have civilian powers, and on top of that, they can become Rangers, and on top of that, they are telepathic? And the especially strange thing there is that never comes back again. Tommy just throws out this pretty important bit of information, but then it never means anything again. Why wasn't this just cut? Since it never comes back, it wasn't even important in that episode. Or this was just a situation where the writers wrote in a line, and they didn't actually know what the word meant. Leader of the Whack had a bizarre plot with a meteor crashing to Earth, breaking open, shooting out light that changes the personality of the Rangers and a monster. We never get any explanation of what this meteor is, where it came from, or why it does what it does. The most explanation we get is what it does, which we can see. Thanks, Haley. You're so useful and necessary to the show. This meteor does get referenced again later on. It's Ethan playing soccer and he's really good, and Kira says, you think another personality-altering meteor hit the Earth or something? Okay, so we actually remember that the meteor, like what it does and that it existed, but that makes me wonder all the more, why doesn't it ever get any kind of explanation? Did the writers just, want to do a plot about personality swaps, but they couldn't think of a reason, so they were like, well, magic meteor, we don't have to explain it. No, you do have to explain where the meteor came from. Why does it do this? This isn't a thing that happened in, any other season. Even Mighty Morphin, if there was a magic meteor or something that changed everyone's personalities, they'd have some kind of a reason. Either, the bad guys sent it, or Zordon would give some explanation about what it is and where it came from, even if it was just a nonsense thing like, the meteor is from the planet Blurberty Blurbity 19, and blurber blurberder. Even that would have been something. Instead, we just have apparently magic personality-altering meteors flying around and could potentially hit the Earth again. And it's just a thing that nobody cares to look into. In the episode The Missing Bone, we have a monster. He's a skull in Mercer's museum. Kira has this magic bone that connects to it and forms it into a monster. This monster was made by Tommy and Mercer specifically to mind control people. Why? Why did they want to make a mind control monster? And the weirdest thing is that in the episode itself, when Tommy explains that him and Mercer made this mind control monster, nobody questions it. Everyone's just like, yep, that makes sense. So yeah, Tommy and Mercer made a mind, and there's a bizarre implication in the episode that they made multiple monsters that could mind control people. Kira's helping Tommy sort out some stuff. She finds the bone that goes to that monster, and Tommy's like really cautious with it, and he locks it up. But he thought the monster was already disassembled or destroyed or something, possibly. So that means that there might be more. Him and Mercer made multiple mind control monsters, and nobody questions it, no one thinks anything of it, and he doesn't seem to be in a hurry to, like, find them and destroy them, or whatever. In the episode Disappearing Act, Elsa goes to find this puddle of green ooze. We never get any explanation about what the green ooze is or where it came from, just like the meteor. It's just there. Don't question it. And again, in any past season, if you come across a puddle of green ooze, there's some kind of explanation behind what it's doing there, where it came from. But not here. And also, Elsa, like, just, she knows where it is and she knows what it does. How? How does she know any of this? We never get any reason for why she knows where it is, how she found it. In the episode Passion of Connor, we're introduced to a life spring in the big tree behind the school. Mesagog wants the life spring, but then there's all these other weird things, like he wants it cut down, but cutting the tree down will kill the life spring. I don't really get what his reasoning is here, but whatever. Anyway, since it's behind the school, I thought, oh, this is the reason why he chooses Elsa as one of his minions. At the end of the season, we get the explanation that Elsa was just a normal person who was brainwashed by Mesagog and forced to be evil. Why? I don't know. They never explain why. She just is. She doesn't have any kind of special powers or abilities or influence over anyone. She's just some woman that he brainwashes, and I don't know why. But this provided a reason. He brainwashes her so that he'd be able to get closer to the life spring behind the school. Maybe he doesn't want to go out in public. Or he can't control what Anton Mercer does, so he possesses this person at the school who's near that tree. She can go get the life spring serum whatever for him. But then he doesn't. The plot doesn't really make any sense. Connor's battleizer. What is up with his battleizer? Now, usually when we have some kind of really bizarre thing going on or some really weird power-up that doesn't seem to make sense, you can usually blame it on, well, it's from Sentai and they had something completely different going on. It makes sense over there. Connor's battleizer isn't from the Sentai. It's made for Power Rangers. And it doesn't make any sense. He has springy arms, bouncy moon boots, water gun cannons, and his main attack finisher is a fiery yo-yo. None of this has anything to do with Connor. If anything, shouldn't his battleizer, if it was based off his personality or something, shouldn't it have been something to do with soccer? Since he's big into soccer? The battleizer is also, like, just part of his powers, which Tommy and Haley developed. So that implies that all the Rangers could potentially get battleizers, but they don't. Why don't they? Why don't the other Rangers get battleizers? Now we get to the weird thing that I noticed only upon several rewatches. At the end of one of the final episodes, House of Cards, in that episode, Elsa steals, or well, as the principal, she takes away Ethan's Dragon War cards. And one of the cards she plans to turn into a monster. She turns it into a monster, the Rangers defeat it, and then at the end of the episode, she reveals she still has the card. Or one of the cards. Then, later at the school, we see Anton Mercer's coming in, he's talking to Tommy, he's gonna apply to be the new principal, and suddenly one of the Dragon War cards falls out of his jacket, and he's like, I don't know how that got there. And then suddenly he collapses, he runs away, and the Rangers see him transform into Mesagog. Then the next episode begins with Mesagog is zapping Elsa with that forehead beam thing, and saying that she betrayed him, and she says, no, I was trying to betray Mercer. And I only finally realized, I think, the writer's intention here was that the card that Elsa has at the end is the card she plants it on Mercer. I was thinking she was going to use it against Mesagog in the next episode. But then the card never shows up again unless it's the card that falls out of Mercer's jacket. But I don't know for sure if it is because she's holding it up backwards to the camera, so I can't see what card it is. The card that falls out of Mercer's jacket is the Ruby Dragon card, which is the relevant card. It's the card that turns into the monster. It's the card that Ethan and Devin talk about at the beginning of that episode. But the ironic thing is, if that was the writer's intention, it doesn't accomplish anything. When the card falls out of Mercer's jacket, the Rangers aren't really suspicious at all. It's Mercer transforming into Mesagog that gives away that he's Mesagog. So if that was the idea, that Elsa plants the card on Mercer, why next episode does Mesagog blame Elsa for betraying him? Because the card isn't what did that. It was him transforming into Mesagog. Like, I don't know, maybe he's just mad at Elsa. He's mad at the fact that he was discovered, so he's taking it out on Elsa. But narratively, man, if that was the intention, it is not communicated well at all, and it doesn't even accomplish anything. And the way it could have worked much easier is just have Elsa hold up the card and have what the card is face the camera. Show that it is the Ruby Dragon card, so that when it falls off Mercer, it's clear that, okay, that's what she planned to do with the card, was plant it on Mercer. It still doesn't accomplish anything. It still has all those logical problems that I talked about, but now the intention is clear of what was intended to happen. Finally, there's just one thing that's just a lingering plot thread that's never explored. At the end of Thunderstorm, Mesagog traps Lothor in a jar, and nothing ever comes of it. So, presumably, Lothor could possibly still be alive in Mesagog's fortress, or, well, the ruins of it. It sunk back into the ocean, didn't it? I don't know if maybe the writers thought they were going to, bring Lothor back again, or maybe they thought that in the following season in SPD they were going to bring Lothor back. That would have been kind of interesting. I don't know why, though, because Disney was, so intent on not having connective continuity, not having a possibility of the Rangers coming back for a future season. It makes me wonder, why did they allow Lothor to survive the ending? Yeah, he's trapped in a jar. Mesagog, if he brought him out, it'd probably be, as a monster or something. So yeah, that's pretty much all the weird, unexplained stuff in Dino Thunder. There's a lot more little, tiny, nitpicky things throughout the entire series, like little continuity errors, logical inconsistencies that I didn't even bother bringing up, but these are the bigger ones that are either so out of left field that they really stand out to me, or they're pretty big things that I wonder about, and I'm really curious, why was this here? Why was it written this way? Why did they choose to do it this way? What was the reasoning behind so many of these decisions made? So, if you have any speculation or things you wondered about yourself, tell me in the comments. I'd love to see it. So, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.